This crowd of people behind me who have come from all across Florida to be here today. I'm Stratton Politzer. I am the Deputy Director of Equality Florida. We are the state's largest organization dedicated to securing full equality for Florida's LGBTQ community. I stand here today with hundreds of Floridians from every corner of the state who have traveled to Tallahassee to stand on the front lines, pushing back against another slate of anti-LGBTQ legislation and making their voices heard.
That's right.
And I stand on behalf of the hundreds of thousands more who believe as we do, but who couldn't be here today. People who could not get time off work, find childcare, or afford the cost of travel. Their lives, too, are being harmed and made less safe by these attacks. For the last several years, Florida has been ground zero in a national escalation of attacks against the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and especially the transgender community.
We exist. Get used to it.
Yes! Yes!
I peed in the bathroom. You'll survive.
But Florida is also home to the largest grassroots response to those attacks in the nation. More than 400 people are here at the Capitol today. Before the session even began, over 10,000 Floridians sent letters to their legislators. And in the last 18 months alone, over 150,000 people have joined Equality Florida, growing our organization to nearly 500,000 strong. These bills we are facing are dangerous. They attack local governments, even removing elected officials from their positions, simply for daring to protect their communities with human rights ordinances or for recognizing their diverse neighbors with Pride Month or Black History Month proclamations. They seek to censor conversations about LGBTQ people and about racism and about sexism, not just in government workplaces, but inside private businesses, dictating how companies set their culture and protect their employees. They would roll back efforts to correct historic wrongs, gutting supplier diversity programs that benefit women-owned and minority-owned businesses. These programs exist because for hundreds of years, access to government contracts and economic opportunities was reserved almost exclusively for white men. Entire communities were deliberately excluded from wealth-building opportunities that shape economic power in this country. And supplier diversity programs are just one way we begin to repair that harm. And these bills undermine the democratic process itself, silencing communities like ours when extremists in this legislature refuse to represent us. Meanwhile, Floridians sit around kitchen tables wondering how they'll afford groceries, rent, and skyrocketing insurance rates. And while many legislators came here to solve real problems, a small group of extremists is determined to scapegoat and demonize our community. They know that turning ignorance into hate is a powerful political weapon, one that leaves people less safe, more isolated, and more afraid. They don't just waste time, they deliberately fuel division, targeting pride flags and rainbow coffee cups, while ignoring the real challenges people face every single day.
That's right.
It is time for wiser leaders in this legislature to rise above these distractions and reject cruelty as a substitute for governance. This is what happens when extremists grab the wheel. They don't just pass bad policies, they make life harder, scarier, and lonelier for real people.
Right.
But here's what we've learned in Florida. They don't get to define our future. Because we show up, we organize, we fight back, and more importantly, we win.
Yes.
Last year, working alongside lawmakers and advocates across Florida, we stopped nearly every anti-LGBTQ bill. Not by accident, not by pleading, but by showing up in every hearing, every committee room, every fight where our rights were under attack.
That's right.
And by working with lawmakers who are willing to listen to our concerns. And we're here again today because that's what it takes. We see it as a hopeful sign that far fewer bills specifically targeting the LGBTQ community have been filed this year. Maybe, just maybe, more legislators are growing tired of the cruelty, the distractions, and the endless culture wars pushed by these extremists. Maybe they're ready to focus on the real challenges Floridians are facing. But make no mistake, the bills that have been filed are still extraordinarily dangerous. And as long as they're on the agenda, we will be here to fight them.
That's right.
That was our commitment last session. We can recommit ourselves to it today and every day until we have the freedoms and the Florida we all deserve. Because the truth is, this fight doesn't stop at Florida's borders. What's happening here is being tested, refined, and exported across the country. But so is our resistance.
Yes. Yes.
We know there are leaders in this building who understand what's at stake. Leaders ready to put Floridians above political games. We're here to say this is your moment to lead. Now you'll hear from lawmakers who are fighting to protect Floridians' freedom to live their lives without government interference, without censorship of our history or our identities. And I am so proud to be joined today up here by Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith, Representative Eskamani, the newest member of the LGBTQ caucus here in Tallahassee, Representative Mitch Rosenwald. You're also going to hear from Equality Florida, Director of Transgender Equality, Angelique Godwin. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Senator Smith.
Yes.
Thank you, Stratton. I don't know if this microphone is actually working.
Try it.
Which one of these ones will ensure that you can hear me now? Can hear a lot of feedback now.
There you go.
Try it again. Try it again.
Can you hear me now? Can the Florida state senators and state representatives hear us now? I think they can hear us now. My name is Carlos Guillermo Smith, and I'm proud to be an out LGBTQ Floridian here at Pride in the Capitol. So many folks know that before I arrived into the Florida Senate for 6 years, I proudly served in the Florida House of Representatives. And in 2022, I was relentlessly attacked for my support for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I was attacked for my support for the freedom and dignity of all LGBTQ Floridians. And I was pushed out of the Florida House of Representatives. But I did not get discouraged. I did not quit. I did not give up. And I'm proud to say I am now your state senator. We do not give up. We organize. And when we organize, we win. We win. Folks, we were told that the culture wars were done. We were told that the divisive attacks on diversity and on LGBTQ people and people of color were finished. Folks, we've been lied to. Because several bills that perpetuate these divisive culture wars, that do nothing to lower costs on Floridians, that do nothing to solve real problems, and that do nothing to improve the lives of hardworking people in this state, are being heard in committees in the Florida House and Senate. But what I also see today is people power in full force in the state capital of Florida. You heard earlier from Stratton Politzer, the Deputy Director of Equality Florida, that last year, 22 anti-LGBTQ bills were introduced in this session of 2024. And yet, because people showed up, they demanded their voices be heard, they wrote their state representatives and state senators, 21 out of those 22 anti-LGBT bills were stopped or neutralized. Today, during Pride at the Capitol, and yesterday, we saw, actually I heard a rumor that over 1,000 public comment cards were submitted. We, the people, are speaking out against this. I also heard, as a result of those 1,000+ comment cards that were submitted in a certain Senate committee, that 2 bad bills were pushed off of the agenda. Can you show me what democracy looks like? This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Folks, it is time to stop the culture war attacks on people of color, on women, on LGBTQ. It's time to start solving real problems in this. And it's time to start telling the truth. Here's some truths that I want to share with you.
All right.
First and foremost, trans people exist. They always have and they always will. Here's another truth. Diversity, equity, and inclusion makes us stronger. And if Pride at the Capitol wasn't proof enough, here's another truth. LGBTQ Floridians love the state of Florida. We're proud to be LGBT Floridians, and we aren't going anywhere. And what do we stand for? We stand for freedom and equality for all Floridians. We stand for the freedom of Floridians to learn. We stand for their freedom to read.
Tell it.
And yes, we do stand for their freedom to access health care. So folks, I'm so excited to see how united we are for freedom and equality in this state during Pride at the Capitol, throughout the 60-day legislative session, and throughout the year. So without further ado, I want you to hear from another ally and accomplice of LGBTQ Floridians, my friend, my colleague, the incredible, incomparable Dr. Representative Eskamani.
It's a great day. It's a great day. It's a great day to be in the Florida Capitol. Let me tell you. This is amazing. Can we hear it up for Carlos Guillermo Smith? Carlos, if you don't know, is my work husband. I am so grateful to have him back here in the state Senate. Your voice is so needed right now, Carlos, and I'm not just saying that as one of your, not friend and roommate, but your voice right now is so incredibly important, and I'm just so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that you're here. My name is Anna V. Eskamani, proudly serving District 42 in the Florida Legislature in the Orlando area. I am a daughter of working-class immigrants, born and raised in Central Florida. I am, of course, not just a proud ally of the LGBTQ plus community, but I am an accomplice of the LGBTQ plus community. And what does that mean? That means that I'm not just going to show up at Pride looking all cute in a tutu, which I will do that.
And you do look fabulous.
And I do look cute at Pride, thank you. But we're also going to fight in these halls for LGBTQ plus rights, for access to gender-affirming care. And we are not going to shy away and be scared to champion these issues. And I have been incredibly disappointed by some Democrats across the country who have turned their backs on some of the most vulnerable community members. Let me tell you, in this state capital, we are not turning our backs. We are looking forward. And we are fighting unapologetically for all of your collective freedoms, why I am proud to have filed with Senator Shevrin Jones the Healthcare Freedom Act, which not only repeals Florida's near total abortion ban, but also repeals the attacks on gender-affirming care, because it is critical the decision about your health care decided between you and your doctor and not politicians. Florida is our home, and it belongs to all of us. No matter who you love, how you identify, where your original home was, what your disability status is, your documentation status, Florida is home to everyone. But right now, there are politicians, both here in Tallahassee and in DC, who are trying to rewrite that truth. They want to erase members of our community.
We're not going anywhere.
No.
Amen. They want to erase LGBTQ plus people from classrooms, from books, take away life-saving care, and make our communities feel unsafe and unwelcome. They claim to fight for freedom, but the only thing they're fighting for is control. Control over our bodies, our identities, and our freedoms. Let me be clear. This state is just as much ours as it's anyone else's. We are not going anywhere. Regardless of what President Trump says, Elon Musk says, or Governor Ron DeSantis. And no matter how many laws they try to pass or executive orders they try to sign, they will never erase us. Now, there's a lot to be learned across the country from what we experienced in Florida, because we know how these attacks play out. We've been the canary in the coal mine, and that canary is dead. And it's really, really important for states across the union and for leaders in Congress to look at Florida, not just for the attacks that we face, but for how we have fought back together. They will start with banning books and censoring teachers. They'll say this is about protecting our youth, when in actuality they're expanding restrictions and bans to all of us. They take away our health care, criminalize our very existence. And if we don't fight back, they will keep going. But here's what they don't understand. Our community collectively is built on resilience and resistance. It is in our blood. It is in the stories of the activists who came before us at Stonewall and in communities across America. We have come way too far. It's a handful of politicians and courtocracy to turn back the clock. We fought way too hard to let generations that came before us down. And when we organize and show up and speak out, we win. So here's my ask for everyone here today. Keep fighting. Yes. I know it gets tiring. I know it gets tiring. I know it's exhausting. I know it can be scary, especially for our youth that are here, for our parents who are here. I know how overwhelming this moment is. Every news alert you get further emphasizes just how important these fights are and how unsettling and uncertain these moments are. But we need you to keep showing up in the halls of Tallahassee. Keep showing up at your school board meetings. Keep showing up in Washington, D.C. Show up at your members of Congress's offices. Force them to host town halls and show up at them. Do what you can to build a sense of accountability and ensure that when these policies pass, we are there to not only fight back, but to litigate in the court and to demonstrate in the streets. Please keep supporting organizations on the ground doing this work, not just in advocacy, but also in mutual aid. This is a time to support organizations raising money to support those who are traveling for gender-affirming care, those who no longer have insurance coverage. The Trump administration just stripped away access for veterans to be able to get gender-affirming care. These are going to be members of our organizations and members in our community who are going to need assistance in ways they never even imagined. So let's step up and put our resources towards these issues as well. And also, please, let's make sure that we vote. The only way that we can stop this assault on our rights is by electing leaders who will protect us, not attack us. Florida is for all of us, not just those in power, not just those that fit a narrow and bigoted definition of who belongs. Every single person in this state deserves to be safe, seen, and celebrated. And no matter what they do, we're going to fight to make sure that vision becomes a reality. Please remember that what we're experiencing right now is backlash. Backlash to the progress that we have made. Remember that backlash is a reaction to our hope becoming a reality. So don't stop hoping, don't stop fighting, because we are here, we are proud, and we are not backing down. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Eskamani. Yeah. All right. Help me.
Oh, which one was moved?
I didn't move it.
There you go.
All right, I'm afraid of this thing. We are thrilled to also be joined by another member of the LGBTQ caucus. We have with us today the first Black queer woman elected to the Florida legislature.
Is this thing on? Okay. I mean, normally I don't have to ask if, it's so loud, but thank y'all so much. My heart is full to see y'all take up space. My heart is full to see y'all take up space. To unapologetically take up space. To not back down, to not, cower, to not shrink, but to unapologetically show up in all of your glory. Because some of y'all look real fabulous, baby. I thought I was a makeup girl, but baby, I need to get I gotta get myself together. But to take up space unapologetically as who you are, and to walk these halls that are sometimes and more often than not very violent to the actual people that you are, but to show up unapologetically and say that we, all of us collectively, whether you are queer, whether you are an accomplice, we are going to take up space. And see, there's something that happens when folks take up space. That means, my mother used to talk about being unshakable and being unmovable. That's true. And when you begin to take up space, especially in places that say that you can't have space, you become unshakable and unmovable. That means that you get folks like a Carlos Guillermo Smith, you get folks like a Chevron Jones, you get folks like myself, you get folks like a Mitch Rosenwald, you get folks like the doctor representative. Or even my good sis, accomplice, Representative Ashley, and when you say that I am not going to move, I am unshakable. You will have to see me and acknowledge my presence. That's when things begin to change. So I know that there are bills that are moving. We've talked about those. I know that the overarching agenda is what it is, and we've talked about that. But what I know is that when you keep showing up, and you keep showing up more and more, and not just like, 1 year was 100 people, 2 years was 200 people, that was like 400, 500. When you keep showing up and saying, we're not going anywhere, baby. Baby, we're not going anywhere. That's when things begin to change. That's when you begin to put champions in office, as Representative Eskamani talked about, things that we're working on Medicare, things we're working on food security. And people say, well, Michelle, what does that have to do with the queers? Let me tell you what food security has to do with the queers. Let me tell you what Medicaid has to do with it. Let me tell you what education has to do with it. Because guess what? If the most marginalized of us don't have access to us, then none of us are good. That's right. So I am so proud to have y'all in this Capitol. I am so proud to have y'all meet with folks who otherwise would not meet with you. I'm so proud. I heard a story today that some of y'all went to go meet with a certain senator and y'all had an appointment. You had to wait them out. Keep waiting them out. Because baby, even if they have to walk by you as you're sitting there, baby, they got to see you because we're not moving. We're not going anywhere, baby. We're not going anywhere, baby. We're here. And all of our iterations and every way that we show up, baby, we are unshakable and we're unmovable. Let's go. And that in this moment is what matters, because the hope is that we'll get tired. That's what the hope is. They're trying to overwhelm you. They're trying to overwhelm us so we get tired, right? They're trying to overwhelm us. They're trying to do, that's what the hope, but baby, we're here. And my mama used to say this. She said, you can't get weary in doing well.
We look too good!
Baby, you said it, yes, period. Period, please. First off, I look way too good for you to try. Please, period. But also, we can't get weary in well-doing, because the hope is that if we get weary, we'll stop. No way. That we won't show up, that we won't keep fighting. And this is not the time. This is the time to lean in even more. This is the time to push even more. And where people say, well, it's not that difficult on the state. Baby, you have to understand what is happening in Washington, D.C. is going to trickle down. Yes. And in fact, we know that Florida has been the test ground for what's happening in D.C. So it is more incumbent upon y'all now to be here and to make sure that you are showing up and that you are being unshakable and unmovable, always standing firm in what you believe in, always standing firm, fighting the good fight. And I know when you get tired, you can come in many of our offices and sit down, but baby, I need you to get back up and keep fighting. This moment calls for us to be unshakable and unmovable. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Earlier, Carlos shared some truths. The most important one I heard: transgender people exist. Our final speaker today, Equality Florida Director of Transgender Equality, Angelique Goblin.
Just want to make sure. Is it on? Can you hear me? Hold on, let me turn it up a little. Alrighty, guys, guess who's back in the house? I told y'all I wasn't going nowhere, and I told you every time I come back, I'm gonna do a little bit more, and I'm gonna be a little bit better, a little bit greater, and a little bit more amazing. And I have yet again outdid myself this year. Last year, I had joined Equality Florida as the Special Events Coordinator for Transaction, our lead program for transgender lives across Florida. This year, I am now standing before you as the Director of Transgender Equality. could you fail to stop me from growing and blossoming and blooming as a trans woman, as I have now successfully completed my full medical transition into womanhood? You failed to stop me from getting the education that I love, as I am now officially on the road to being Dr. Godwin. You have also failed to stop me from mobilizing my community, as we are here in the biggest numbers ever. Transgender people are not only existing, but we are in your building today. We were in your building yesterday, and for the first time ever, we are going to truly march on the Capitol tomorrow morning. When we say we're not going anywhere, and when you hear things like we need to stand and steadfast and be here, baby, I am a shining example of what that looks like. I have shared the bathroom with senators and Republicans and Christian people today, and not one person has had a bad thing to say about me. Not one person has been scared of me. Not one person is afraid to be next to me. Because I am the embodiment of what I feel inside, as are so many other humans in this room today. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you say, we are all human. And we all deserve the right to live and breathe as we see fit.
That's right.
I will go back and I'll say this every year. I was raised in an America where we can dream to be anything and everything we want to be, as long as we have the pursuit, the passion, and the dedication to achieve it. Nothing can stop us when we put that behind us. So here we are yet again in droves, in more people than we've ever had before. The community is speaking louder than ever, and they're not just speaking for themselves, they're speaking up for us. They're showing you that we matter and that they care, and they're willing to stand on the front line and take your verbal assaults, to take your bad bills, which, by the way, all of you need to go back to school and learn how to write an actual paper. Because I know my 5th, 6th, and 7th grade teacher would roll over in the grave if she read some of your bills. I know my college professors would be like, go back and work on this immediately. My biggest challenge to any Republican or Democrat handing in bills is, please stop turning in rough drafts. Because it is shameful that you cannot turn in a piece of paper and defend it in court. That is absolutely shameful. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Your inability to be complete when you're suggesting that something means so much to you that you will spend your entire year developing it, and you come into a room and you cannot answer simple, basic questions. Google is your best friend. You can find facts on schools, you can find facts on the numbers of people who are doing what they're doing right here, right now. There is never a time where you should say, I'll get that answer for you. You are the bill writer, not your legislative aides, not the people you run around, and your constituents are in the building telling you that they do not agree and that they do not want this. And it doesn't matter if only one person says they don't like it. That means you need to go back to the drawing board. And if you cannot do that, leave it alone. If it's not hurting you, if it's not damaging you, if it's not pushing you aside or asunder, if it's not keeping you up at night, then you need to let it go. And if it is, I swear, my biggest piece of advice to you, go seek therapy. There are psychologists and psychotherapists ready and waiting in the wings to give you the medication you need to sleep at night. Because baby, messing with me ain't it. It ain't ever gonna be it. And I'm gonna keep coming back and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, because look at this room. Look at the people who showed up. Look at the diversity in all the faces as we stand together in equity and inclusion. As we choose to be a team, a united front, a community, because you cannot have community without unity. And that is what I am all about. And that is what I will continue to be about. And if you keep messing around, in 2 years, you're gonna see my face on one of these seats. And my House representatives love me, and they like having me around, and I think I like being in the Capitol. I honestly do. I'm never upset when I'm here, because I look really good every time. So, and as I stand here before you in trans pride colors, I'll end with this. No matter if you see it or you feel it, knowing something exists doesn't change because you write a law or a bill. Knowing something exists doesn't change because you choose to ignore it. The sun shines. Alaska only sees it for 6 months out of the year, but they know after that 6 months, the sun is coming back, and that's what we are, baby. We will always rise.